Please stick around for bonus photos at the end of the video.
Hey y'all, it's Jan. I hope you're having a great day today. Today, if you're wondering where we are, straight ahead of us is a bridge, and you can see some vehicles moving there and the sound of a creek, and that would be Durbin Creek that's next to us and Jones Mill Road, and the place that we're going to be visiting is none other than the location for which Jones Mill is named, Jones Mill itself. Now, this is going to be a little fun. Just to let you know right up front, this is private property. It is clearly marked as such. However, I did get in touch with the trustee of the trust that owns this. This is a historic property, so it is listed under a trust. The trustee was kind enough to give me permission to come down here, but he did warn me that this place is guarded and that I might expect to see someone dropping by to check on me because of the fact that this is a guarded location. So I'm going to warn you right away. Don't try going to visit some of these places, especially this one, without getting permission first. I did the research to find the trust and the trustee responsible and contact him. If you're interested in coming here, I'd suggest you do the work yourself because I'm not going to let him be bothered by a whole bunch of people who all want to come down at once. But we're going to visit the old Jones Mill. And just to clarify, it's called Jones Mill now, but when this structure was built, it was built before 1860. They're not exactly sure when. But the original mill that was built here was built by slaves for the Stone family. So it was originally called Stone Mill. And then it went through several owners before ending up with the Jones family. And the Jones family, from what I understand, I did this research online, so I'm sorry if it's limited. For those who are local, you're welcome to comment and tell me what I get wrong. I'm more than fine with having better education on this. But the Jones family kept this and actually turned it into a general store and continued using it as a mill all the way until the 1950s. And if you look over there, you can see just off to the side a little bit, you can see a power cable there that connected to this. Now I will tell you right away, this place is not in the greatest shape. Before doing this video tour, I decided to walk around a little bit and take some photos just to see what was here and be able to tell you what I see. And, well, as I always mention, you have to watch your footing in places like this. The more decayed they are, the more dangerous, and you definitely have to be careful here. For instance, there's a hole through the floor, right in front of the front door. So you definitely want to be careful about that. I'm watching my footsteps very carefully in here, and we're going to give the camera a second here to adjust the light, because it's much darker. Now, here is the staircase leading to the second floor. And I got some nice photos up there, but I'm not going back up there for the video. And the reason is, I don't know if you can tell, the lighting is kind of hard to adjust to in here. Let's see if it gets any better. There's about 3 different steps that are missing here. One of them was kind of hanging on a little bit right there in the middle. You can kind of see where there's 3 steps missing. And you can see the piece of one that's hanging there, and that's because, well, while I was coming back down from doing photos up there, it decided to give out on me. So yeah, definitely be careful here or you will regret it. Thankfully, I was balancing on one of the edges, so when it started coming down, I was able to avoid any kind of harm to myself. But it was not that pleasant, that's for sure. So hopefully that'll give you a tip. Again, the flooring in here is not the best at all, so I am watching my foot. You can see right there, it's kind of caving in a little bit. So I'm going to step over that. More holes in the floor. So this was used as kind of a general store, and you can see some of the decorative nature of the things that were done here by the end, and the neat little ceiling tiles. But yeah, this was also a very functional place. It was apparently a very popular stop with people out here. You can see again, some of the ceiling tiles coming down. You have a nice little view of Durbin Creek through right here. And part of the thing is that the property right next to us is run by, as is much of the area along the side of the rivers here and the creeks, owned by Rewa. So there's actually a fence line that you may or may not be able to see separating between us and there. And it's, I mean, beautiful view of the creek. In a moment, we're going to go to the the actual core and guts of the mill, but again, we're going to walk carefully around here. If you'll give me 1 second, I have to stop and do something really fast. I take off my sunglasses and put on my actual glasses because it's a bit too dark in here for me to perceive properly with sunglasses on. Thank you for your patience with that. All right. So, one of the things that's interesting is you can see again that there was a more decorative nature to here, and I mean, even right here, there's some holes in the floor that I have to be careful with. So you can see some of the metal siding. Wow, that's definitely dipping. Okay, so again, I'm going to be very careful. In fact, I'm not even going to go to the back of this room because right here in the middle, there's holes throughout all of that. And you can see some window frames that were here, lots of spider webs. So from the side, here is the staircase. As you can see where it goes up and the metal plating. So the actual guts of the staircase itself, that's good and solid. However, you can see some of the supports, and especially the railing on the opposite side is pretty well decayed. So I was leaning on this closer side when I was coming back down and when I was going up. So the interesting thing is there is a 3rd floor up there. Now I could not get anywhere even close to that ladder, or well, the staircase going up there, because it was not stable in the least. But yeah, so that step that's right there that I'm focusing on right now, that was across and it decided to buckle on me, and you can see that the railing right there is kind of not the greatest, but there is actually reaching up to the 3rd floor and into the ceiling along where the old water wheel was up there. So that's exciting. Okay, so now we're going to go to some of the fun parts. In here is the actual mechanism itself and the grindstone, and you can see more windows here. I imagine they had this place looking pretty nice in the past. You can see the cinder block construction here now, and you can see the ceiling caving in and watermarks from the damage. But here is some of the machinery, and I should have thought to bring a flashlight with me, but of course I didn't. So I'm sorry that I'm not able to get this the most well lit for you right now. I'm making a change. Previously I was using a video camera, and it appears that the video camera itself has lower quality than my actual iPhone. So I'm using my iPhone to record this one instead. And there is the actual millstone. If you give me 1 second, I think I want to come up with an alternate solution. Okay, so what's funny is my video camera actually has a flashlight function on it. And so I am using that in order to light up where I am walking and where I'm aiming from my phone. So you can see some of the machinery there. The gear itself that connects to the wheel. Again, I'm trying to be very cautious here and watch my footing while I do this. So the last thing I want is to end up going through the floor. There is a level underneath this one that doesn't really have a good access point. It's down by the river, and I walked by there. However, it's kind of halfway closed up, and I don't really want to necessarily try and go through that, and I don't exactly know what else down there. But you can see the millstone itself. In just a second, we're going to take a walk outside. And you can see the construction underpinning the flooring here. In just a second, we're going to take a nice walk outside, and we are going to see the water wheel itself. So let's head that way now. Pick up my bag, shift hands with this to the other hand. Sorry for my fingers being in the frame there for a minute. All right. So, you may ask, why do I care so much about a place like this? I mean, it's run down. I mean, the brick is beautiful. Well, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's run down. It's old. It hasn't been in use for longer than I've been alive. Why do I care? A place like this and the pieces of it make up part of the history of our community, of our state, and of our country. I've always had a love for history, and to be able to see it in person and to understand it a little bit better by the pieces that are here is a beautiful thing. And there is something aesthetically pleasing about a place like this as well, at least to me. And I know there are others who feel the same way. All right, so we are coming down to the side of the mill. And I'm going to pick the course that doesn't require me to do as much with my hands or anything with my hands, so that you can get a better view of this. I'm going to come down to the wheel itself. Oh, and it's actually a beautiful site. It's in pretty good repair. There is the water wheel itself. Let me get a little bit closer here so you can get a better appreciation for it. Okay, so you can see where the mechanism enters the building. It turns the gears, the large gear around the outside here. You can see where it turns on the stone, the exterior of the wheel, and you can actually see where it's rusting through in some places. I still think it's absolutely beautiful, as is the mill itself. And up across the top. This is a little piece of our history. I mean, the building itself is, what, over 160 years old. It was built before the Civil War by slave labor. And it's endured to this point in time. And it was repurposed into something that was, beautiful. What's interesting about this is while studying this online, saw the fact that they were looking in 2013 to potentially try and restore the site for various purposes. But it's pretty obvious that that never took place. Another reason why this right now is significant, why this matters to me, why one of the things that got me into doing videos of properties like this again, is the fact that these places are steadily disappearing. And especially in this case, it stood out because Durbin Creek here is in the edge of Lawrence County, and we are, it's family land. A lot of these areas out here are family farms that have been owned by the same families for generations. The family that has the trust on this property, the gentleman that I talked to, the trustee, his family has been living in the area of Lawrence County, or the middle of South Carolina, since the 1700s. But that is swiftly changing. Specifically, across the road, across the creek here, is a beautiful farm, and several beautiful farms with old buildings. And in the last several months, many of those buildings have totally disappeared. And that's because the land behind them has been purchased for turning into a subdivision. And don't get me wrong, I have no problem with progress. I have no problem with subdivisions. I appreciate them for the growth that's coming to our community and the prosperity that comes with it. However, it means that places like this are being swallowed, demolished, and destroyed. And I don't want to see that happen. I want to see them at least remembered. Some of them, like this one, could be restored if there was someone who wanted to put in the time and the effort and the funds, and it could be a beautiful place. I mean, we could turn this into a small little historic site, and it would be greatly appreciated to see people do so. But this is Jones Mill, also known as Stone Mill. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, if you have more history or things that I got wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments. I'd greatly appreciate it.
I wanted to be able to demonstrate for you the dangers of doing this kind of thing. If you look at the staircase there, you can see that bottom stair is hanging by a thread. And I went up to the second floor to be able to view everything. I go around the facility before I video it so that I'm able to see what all is there and show you the highlights. This is the main area of the second floor. The natural light that you can see there. There's really not much up there, but the entire area is pretty unstable. If you look across, you can see the staircase that leads up above the rafters up to kind of an attic area / third floor. That area does, I believe, connect to the mechanism nearby the top for the water wheel. And here's one of the devices that's up there. I'm not positive what it's for. After this, you'll see in a moment, looking out the front door from the second story window. The thing to remember is this is very dangerous. The staircase itself, that one hanging stair, actually gave out on me while I was coming back down from taking the photos, which is why there is no video up topside. Thank you so much for watching my video today. It means a lot to me that you would. I love these locations and I hope you do too. If you have suggestions or comments, I would love to hear them below. Please let me know what you think. If you know locations similar to these, also let me know about that. If you're interested in seeing how we can restore a place like this, I'm more than happy to discuss that too. Thank you and have a good rest of your day.